Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the world of BetterHelp from a therapist perspective. I have seen a lot of content surrounding BetterHelp, mostly that is quite critical of the company, and I have a lot to say and add to the conversation. So this video is for you if you are a therapist who is thinking about applying to BetterHelp, if you are a potential client thinking about using BetterHelp to get matched with a therapist through their platform, or if you are an influencer who is thinking about taking a brand deal from BetterHelp. Just keep watching. Hi, my name is Alyssa Powers, and I created this YouTube channel to teach therapists the things that grad school didn't so they can thrive as mental health practitioners. I talk about all things mental health here and show a lot of behind the scenes of what it looks like to be a therapist. So if you find that kind of content interesting, I would love it if you would stick around and subscribe. Now, let's get down to business. I need to first make a disclaimer that all of the opinions in this video are my own, and I am in no way claiming that anything stated in this video is fact. I've heard of other therapists getting cease and desist letters from BetterHelp's legal team, so just want to put that out there that this video is my own opinion. I think the number one reason people are really attracted to BetterHelp is because they have done an amazing job at marketing the platform. It really kind of is the first of its kind with offering a subscription service and an app, and it just seems very accessible. They promise to get you match with a therapist within 24 hours. It just seems like it takes a ton of the guesswork out of looking around for a therapist. And another reason that I think so many people are attracted to it as potential clients is that it's somewhat affordable. Now, I'm gonna get more into the details of that later, but I wanna start first from talking about how they treat their therapists. I think this is so important to understand because it's going to inform all my other opinions throughout this video. So I want to start from the therapist perspective of what it is like to work for BetterHelp. Now, I personally work in private practice and I have never worked for BetterHelp, so I am going off of other clinicians' self-report on the internet. So know that I do not claim any of this to be fact, and this is just other people's experiences. It is widely accessible on the internet, on LinkedIn, Indeed, Reddit, TikTok. You can hear all kinds of experiences there. But just as a summary of what it is like to work for BetterHelp, my first qualm is that BetterHelp is built off the backs of therapists, and it compensates them between $30 to $40 an hour. And there are some outliers there from the research that I've done, and the way they figure out how to pay these therapists is literally like a mind game within itself. You can look more into it if you're curious, but honestly, I could make an entire video about their convoluted pay structure. But on average, it seems like therapists report making between $30 and $40 an hour. You are incentivized to work more hours and then get a slight pay bump per hour, which then by doing that, BetterHelp is incentivizing therapists to take on caseloads that are much bigger than they can actually manage. And I think that's where all of the BetterHelp horror stories on the client side stem from, because they are working with underpaid, burnt out therapists that are not being taken care of and not doing well. So they're paid so little. This company that made $135 million in profits in 2023 is paying master's level clinicians as much as you could make door dashing or delivering pizzas. It breaks my heart because we already have such a low standard of pay in our field in general. And so I think this just takes it one step further and normalizes this really low pay. And on paper, I understand why working for a company like BetterHelp could be really, really attractive because you don't have to worry about marketing yourself. They're feeding you all of the clients. You get to work remotely. You definitely have some security in terms of like, this is a very widely used app. It sounds like they actually have way more clients than they have therapists to like connect. So I understand why it is attractive. I think so many therapists are burnt out in their agency jobs, or they're looking to start a private practice and they want to supplement their income, but it gets worse. Now, there are some really unethical things too that make me even more wary, because maybe you're a new therapist, you're just starting out, you would be okay making $30 or $40 an hour. Maybe that's not the major issue to you, but there's more. So they don't consider you an employee of BetterHelp. You are an independent contractor to them. So then they aren't taking on the liabilities that come with being a healthcare provider. So things like documentation and confidentiality are not being treated in the way that they should. So from what I have read, BetterHelp actually doesn't require their therapists to document anything, which is very scary. If you are a therapist, you know that that is scary on multiple levels, because you need to cover your own butt and you need to keep track and document the interventions that you are using with clients, especially if they have any sort of SI or HI or any of those more severe kinds of things. So there's that. And then another thing that I think is borderline unethical is that they utilize chat and texting therapy, which just doesn't have a ton of research surrounding it. So the efficacy, we just don't know if that's helpful. But as you could imagine, and as I would imagine, I don't think texting someone is going to do the same things that sitting face to face with a therapist would. And I'm actually a therapist who does telehealth only, and I understand there are even limitations to that, but texting therapy really takes it one step further. We are seeing some new research come out about the helpfulness of it, but therapists are also paid basically pennies to do this texting therapy. It sounds incredibly draining. I know sometimes I'm too drained to even text my own friends back, so I cannot imagine texting clients for work. It sounds like my personal hell, but you should let me know. Would that be something you'd be interested in doing if you are a therapist? I know for me, I would just absolutely hate that. So the next huge ethical thing that therapists need to think about is that BetterHelp has allegedly sold client data to big advertising and social media companies to make more targeted ads. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but the FTC reported this, the Federal Trade Commission, which I'm pretty sure is like pretty high up there. Like this seems to not be speculative. It seems like this is true. And I will link the FTC article below, and I think BetterHelp did have like some sort of way that they tried to cover their tracks. But as a therapist, we want to do no harm. We want to look out for the best interest of our clients. And I know personally, with all the things that are happening with AI and our phones listening to us and all of that, I just in good faith could not work with a company that was selling client data. That's a hard no for me. So the last thing I wanted to point out, and I wanted to say this to any therapists watching this video, BetterHelp is using these recruiting agencies to try and get clinicians to work for them. My assumption is that BetterHelp has really like sullied their name. I feel like it's quite well known that BetterHelp is not an ethical business and does not have the therapist's best interest in mind. And so I'm assuming that they're using these recruiting companies to kind of get in the door with certain therapists. So if you get emails from Headway, Gotham, or any other sort of recruiting agency asking you to apply to work remotely, know that they might be recruiting you for BetterHelp. I know some people have gotten tons and tons of calls, tons of recruiting emails. I get recruiting emails all the time, and they go straight to my spam because I own my own business. I don't want to work for anyone at this point in my life, but keep an eye out for that because I don't want you to go through an entire application process and then realize, oh, it's for BetterHelp. Now, next, I want to get into the client side of things. If you are someone who is thinking about reaching out for therapy services and using BetterHelp, this part is for you. Now, I totally understand why people want to use BetterHelp. It seems really easy and accessible. They have a very modern looking platform, and it just seems like it takes a lot of that guesswork out of like, how do I do this? I don't know. I don't even know what kind of therapist I need. I don't know what my issues are. They have everything they have surveys. They say they're gonna match you with someone within 24 hours, and it's also affordable. And I think that is a reason that people really, really gravitate towards it. So I looked up on average what the cost is. And it said that a BetterHelp subscription, because it is a subscription model, which is unique, it can be anywhere from $200 to $400 a month. Now, my argument would be that you could find a really good non-BetterHelp therapist in your area that has a sliding scale and probably get away with between $200 and $400 a month. Also, if you have health insurance, finding a therapist that takes your insurance is not that hard. And I am going to leave some websites and resources below that can walk you through finding therapists that accept sliding scale and how to find therapists that accept your health insurance. And if you have no insurance, I also have some ideas for you. There are resources out there. The next thing to consider if you are a client is that BetterHelp is not keeping your data safe. And if you are putting into a chat what your issues are, or you are filling out surveys and they're storing that information, it just seems like a huge breach of your confidentiality, potentially, because they have been caught in the past selling client data. And confidentiality and having that trust with your therapist is so, so key. And then I think the biggest complaint I hear from the client side about BetterHelp is that the therapists are trash. And I will say there are bad therapists everywhere. It is not just BetterHelp, but I do think that therapists who are not super invested, are maybe not willing to, put their all into it, get sucked into things like BetterHelp because it seems like an easy thing to do. And it's not, as well as they're getting paid poorly. They're working way beyond the amount of hours that they should be. It's just a recipe to have a really burnt out, tired, grumpy therapist. And if you have worked a normal job, you know that by hours 8, 9, 10 throughout the week, you're just starting to check out. You're just exhausted. So there is that side of things, and you can look on TikTok. There are thousands of BetterHelp horror stories told from the client's perspective about why they would never, ever go back to BetterHelp again. And it makes me sad because it's so hard to reach out for help when you're struggling. So going through that process and then meeting with someone and it not going well really sucks. And I think another thing, BetterHelp makes it really easy to switch around, switch therapists. I feel like that's it's fast fashion for therapy. There's so much wrong with it. This could honestly be like the longest video, but I will keep it concise. So those are my main qualms with BetterHelp and how they then treat the clients. It's not quality care, your data is not safe, and it's not saving you probably as much money as you think. The last thing I want to talk about is the influencer side of things. So if you are an influencer who is trying to decide if they want to accept a brand partnership from BetterHelp, please hear me out. I am a person who absolutely loves my podcasters, loves my YouTubers. I've followed some of the influencers that I like for years and years and years. And I think the thing that makes me want to follow certain people is that I relate to them and I trust them. So a lot of people have built their platform on trust. I can think of so many influencers that I have so much respect for that have accepted partnerships from BetterHelp, and I've just chosen to believe that they were not informed about BetterHelp's practices and how harmful BetterHelp actually can be for the clients. But this is my advice to you if you are an influencer. I would say that if you want to partner with BetterHelp, you should actually try their services for a couple of months and see how you like it, because I think the influencers I've seen promoting BetterHelp have said things like, oh, I love therapy. I've been working with a therapist for years and years. It's so helpful. Everyone should do it, which is a lovely thing, right? Like destigmatizing, relatable, wonderful. But they're never saying they found that therapist on BetterHelp. They're just saying they've worked with therapists who I am most likely assuming they did not find on BetterHelp. So I think it would be worthwhile to actually try out the platform for yourself and see what your own experience is with it, because your audience trusts you and looks up to you and thinks that your life is aspirational, or maybe you're providing them education or entertainment, whatever it is. You are making an impact on your audience and you want it to be a good impact. And I think that the thing that gets me about the BetterHelp sponsorships is that, like, I really think these influencers think they're doing a good thing, but I actually think it's hurting the mental health field so much. And I am a realist. I am really try to be a balanced person. I feel like I'm not super naive. I understand that BetterHelp has probably been perfectly fine for some people, and I understand that it still is getting people into therapy, and I can acknowledge that that's wonderful. All right, well, I hope that this video has been helpful for you. I really feel passionate about advocating for therapists and clients trying to navigate the mental health field. It really is such a broken system, but I hope that videos like this make it a tiny bit more like understood, and just make you feel like you have someone who wants to advocate for you, wants to help you find good employment, a good therapist, affordable therapy. And my heart is to just have a legacy of helping people. And I don't always get it right either, but I think that overarchingly, we can agree that BetterHelp is actually doing a lot of harm. If you liked this video, I would love it if you would subscribe and stick around. I make all kinds of content for potential therapists, people that are already therapists, and then just people interested in mental health. So if that is you, hit that subscribe button. If you made it to the end of this video, know that you are my people, and leave me a comment below what your experience has been with BetterHelp, whether that's working for them, being a client there, or even just what you've heard around the grapevine. I love to hear the stories and connect with you guys. I'll see you in the next one.